Hello, welcome to Leisrealtalk. Have you ever seen a haunted house that has brought down multiple presidents successively? Do you know which presidential palace in the world has the worst feng shui? Many believe that the Blue House, South Korea's presidential palace, is the one. The Blue House has been the official residence and office of South Korean presidents for nearly 74 years. However, a staggering 83% of these leaders encountered serious misfortunes, from assassinations and impeachments to military coup and imprisonment. The name Blue House came from the palace's blue roof tiles and often evokes comparisons to the White House in the US. The original building suffered damage during the Korean War. The Blue House as we see it today were reconstructed in the late 1980s according to the original layout. Since South Korea's founding in 1948, up until President Yoon Suk-yeol's election, there have been 12 presidents serving a total of 19 terms. No matter which political party they belong to, almost every president has been plagued by misfortune during their term. Even those who left office gracefully encountered tragedies and scandals afterward. Let's examine each president's fate, categorized by death, imprisonment, coup, and impeachment. President Park Chung-hee was the longest-serving Korean president and was in power for nearly 20 years. He experienced a military coup in 1961 and was assassinated in 1979 by his own intelligence chief. The 16th president, No Moo-hwin, is known for his anti-corruption stance. His legacy took a tragic turn after leaving office, when a corruption probe into his family pushed him to despair. Overwhelmed by the scandal, he took his own life in 2009. Korea's first president, Syngman Rhee, was forced to resign in 1960 after an election scandal. He fled in exile to Hawaii, where he lived until his death. President Chung Do-hwan seized power through a military coup. Chung was sentenced to death in 1996 for treason and corruption. The sentence was commuted to life, and he was later pardoned. President No Tae-woo was South Korea's first democratically elected president, but like Chung, he was later convicted of corruption and sentenced to life imprisonment, though he was pardoned. President Lee Myung-bak, who investigated President No Moo-hwin for corruption, causing the former president to commit suicide, found himself in prison in 2018 for financial fraud and abuse of power. He received a 17-year sentence. President Yoon Bo-sung was South Korea's second president. His presidency lasted only 1 year and 7 months, with Park Chung-hee's 1962 military coup. Choi Kyu-ha is Korea's shortest-living president. After only 8 months in office, he was overthrown in a coup in 1980. Park Geun-hye is the daughter of the assassinated President Park Chung-hee and South Korea's first female president. She was impeached in 2017 due to corruption and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The 14th president, Kim Yong-sun, is noted for his anti-corruption efforts while in office, but his legacy was tarnished by his son's imprisonment for bribery. President Moon Jae-in, who stepped down in 2022, is being investigated for bribery while in office. His pro-North Korea policy have also sparked controversies. That leaves us just one Korean president who lived in the Blue House and had a relatively peaceful presidency. That's President Kim Dae-jung, who is credited with South Korea's economic recovery of the late 1990s and the Sunshine Policy with North Korea. President Kim was a devout Catholic, and before becoming president, he suffered imprisonment, abduction, an assassination attempt, and a death sentence. He's the only Korean president who didn't face significant misfortunes during or after his presidential term. So what's wrong with the Blue House? And why is it said to be the presidential palace with the worst feng shui? The Blue House was originally part of the Korean royal palace. The royal palace is in a location considered to have the best feng shui in all of Korea, with Monbugak serving as the black turtle to the north, Namsan as the vermilion bird to the south, Inwonsan as the white tiger to the west, and Nak Mountain as the azure dragon to the east. The Korean royal palace possesses the 4 feng shui essentials for a royal palace. The presence of these mountains slows the flow of the Han River around Seoul, helping it to meander peacefully near the royal palace. With the solid backing of the mountains and open running water in front, the Korean royal palace has the ideal configuration in feng shui. During the reconstruction of the Blue House in the late 1980s, a stone tablet was unearthed, engraved with the words, "The best blessed site under heaven." It further confirmed that this location was once the best feng shui site in Korea. So, if the royal palace is so well suited, why does the Blue House, which is part of the palace, have such bad feng shui? The Blue House was originally in the backyard of the royal palace, used as an archery range. Later, a small plot of land was set aside for farming, where royal family members could experience life as peasants. It was also used as an exam site for selecting officials through the imperial exams. In other words, the land has many uses except as a residence. The area was simply not suitable for living. The Blue House worked fine as part of the royal palace's backyard, but as an independent presidential residence, its feng shui is problematic. First, Monbugak is part of the greater Bakdu mountain range, with an elevation of 342 meters or 1,100 feet. It serves as a natural defense for Seoul. In terms of feng shui, this mountain is like a dragon that protects the city. Ideally, the Blue House should align directly with this dragon vein to ensure good fortune. However, the dragon vein points directly at the main hall of the royal palace, not at the Blue House, as it sits slightly off the side at the base of Monbugak, just missing the dragon vein. This small misalignment leads to drastically different feng shui outcomes between the royal palace and the Blue House. Furthermore, Monbugak's steep, rugged terrain is described by some feng shui masters as a cursed mountain. Ideally, the mountain backing a residence should be lush and gentle, without too many jagged cliffs. In feng shui, houses built against such steep and rugged mountains are thought to harbor hidden dangers. From a modern perspective, building houses at the base of steep mountains also presents safety risks. Over time, rain and wind erode the mountains, increasing the risk of landslides or rockfalls during heavy storms. In feng shui for residences called yangjai, one of the most important aspects is the open area outside the front door, called mingtang. Yangzai, which means home for the living, corresponds to yingzai, home of the deceased or burial grounds. There's an old saying, a yingzai needs to be small, a yangzai requires a wide open space. This means that residences should have open and expansive areas in the front, while graves should occupy small, more contained areas, so that the grave doesn't cause misfortunes to the descendants of the deceased. Unfortunately, in the case of the Blue House, the front yard is considered too narrow and lacks grandeur for a presidential palace. It pales in comparison to the Mingtang of the Korean royal palace, which is expansive and dignified. As a result, some feng shui experts believe that the Blue House is more suitable as a burial site than as a residence. It is not an ideal place for the home of living presidents. In addition, some say that the convergence of the two roads in front of the Blue House's main building, forming the shape of a reverse bow, is problematic. It resembles an arrow aimed directly at the center or the heart of the Blue House. This forms a harmful Feng Shui configuration known as piercing heart curse. Moreover, Feng Shui experts point out another problem, which is the layout of the Blue House. The main house is flanked by two smaller structures on both sides. These two structures are too close to the main house, creating an effect known as forcing the palace or intimidating the palace. It symbolizes a scenario in which presidents could be undermined by subordinates. This kind of layout, according to Feng Shui theory, weakens a president's authority and leaves him or her vulnerable to betrayal. In summary, both the geographic location and architectural layout of the Blue House make it an ill-suited place for a presidential residence. In addition to the problems with the Blue House's Feng Shui, some experts suggest that the South Korean flag may be contributing to the misfortunes of the country's presidents. The South Korean flag features a central yin-yang symbol surrounded by 4 trigrams, which came from the ancient Chinese divination text I Ching, or the Book of Changes. The 4 trigrams on the flag represent heaven, earth, water, and fire. However, I Ching has 8 trigrams in total, not just 4. The missing 4 trigrams represent thunder, wind, mountain, and lake. When combined, the 8 trigrams symbolize balance and stability. Because the South Korean flag includes only half of the 8 trigrams, Feng Shui experts argue that while the country may enjoy general prosperity, its presidents are challenged with instability, bearing the brunt of misfortune due to the missing trigrams. Regardless of their ill fortunes, the 12 Korean presidents overcame the challenges and have managed to transform South Korea into one of the most prosperous nations in the world. These presidents certainly deserve some credit for South Korea's success. But wait, you might say I missed one president. Korea has 13 presidents, and we didn't include the current one, President Yoon Suk-yeol. You're right, we didn't include President Yoon because he's the first president who didn't live in the Blue House. In March 2022, newly elected President Yoon announced that he would relocate the presidential office from the Blue House to the Ministry of National Defense building, and that he and his family would not live in the Blue House. Instead, they will move into a new official residence in an upscale neighborhood of Seoul. The opposition party, the Democratic Party of Korea, immediately tallied up the costs. The relocation and renovation will cost $57 million, and they accused President Yoon of exploiting taxpayer money. Despite the opposition party's criticism, President Yoon was unmoved. After being sworn in, he began working for the Ministry of National Defense and didn't move into the Blue House. Fortunately, most Koreans understand the bad feng shui in the Blue House and were okay with his decision. However, unfortunately, President Yoon still didn't escape the fate of the Blue House curse, even though he doesn't live there. He was impeached in December 2024 for imposing martial law and is now detained and going through a trial. So maybe it's not just the bad feng shui of the Blue House. The missing 4 trigrams on the Korean flag seem to have played a role in causing the misfortunes of the presidents. What do you think? Please leave me comments and share your thoughts. In the next video, we'll discuss the palace with the best feng shui. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the program, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. That's all for today. See you next week.